What's up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the Wise Take MLB DFS podcast. I am your host, CK013. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I am joined by the Triple OG. That's right, not one, not two, but three of the Wise Take Nation, Mr. Patio Joe. You can find him on Twitter at Patio Joe. Ref Joey, my man. How's it hanging?
Going well, just chilling. It's Tuesday night. I took the day off from playing today. I was quite busy with my other job, so had a lot of driving to do. So now I'm getting ready to get into the slate on Wednesday.
I hear you, bro. I had a pretty good night outside of DFS. Pretty pissed right now when I think about my teams. And the only thing worse than not rostering a player that hits 3 home runs is rostering him in 2 out of 3 teams and still not cashing. It's like, I would rather have not played him, and then I'm like, all right, well, that's what it's all good. I didn't play him. But the fact that I had Robinson Cano in 2 out of 3, but I had too much Kyle Gibson, who was awful and is a piece of shit, and then, my stacks for the Indians, the D-backs, and the Dodgers, all of which are currently blowing the old you-know-what. Very frustrating when Robinson Cano is like, as the punt, is the player that comes through and nobody else can do nothing. So, good night otherwise. DFS-wise, I'm ready to murk somebody. You know what I'm saying? Murk. You know what that means, Joe?
Oh, yeah. You're ready to murder somebody.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's funny.
I didn't say all that, Joe. Wow. No, I'm just kidding.
I texted you like earlier this morning, and I was like, if you like the Dodgers bats, it's humid out here in LA. And I thought, you would think that they would have been good against Pena, but he is a troll job. Like last start, he got bombed, and the start before, he had that perfect, that no-hitter. So it's just crazy.
Oh, he did this to me last year, the same exact thing. The Dodgers against him, he did this to me last year, just crushed me. Like, that's the thing about the Dodgers. As good as they are, like if you look at their numbers against the slider, they have great WOBA, great ISO, but they also have high whiff rates. And if the slider's nasty enough, they're going to swing and miss at it. And that's what's happening tonight, unfortunately for us. But, I was a little worried going in. That was the first thing when me and Paulie spoke about the slate. That was the first thing I said. And he was like, I like the Dodgers. And I was like, dude, I'm like, the last time I played the Dodgers against Pena, he just completely killed me. And, like, the more I looked into it, I'm like, it's a different year. The Dodgers' whiff rates were a little lower this year, and I just liked them. I was like, you know what, man, you're right. They're going to fucking do the dirty, and I really thought they were. And then, of course, you had mentioned the high humidity, all that kind of stuff, and it didn't work. It's like it's all good. Like, today, I wasn't going to win, because it wasn't just the Dodgers. All the offenses I like sucked, so I wasn't going to win today. You know what I mean? Like, that's just what it was. It's just annoying that I happened to play Cano on 2 out of 3 as my punt, and the dude hits 3 home runs. Like, what a waste. Just super frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing about
and it seems to me,
go ahead.
It seems to me like if you didn't have the Reds, the Nats, or this Minnesota Yankees game, right, you're not really doing anything anyway.
Or the Baltimore Orioles, who when finally Merrill Kelly gets his teeth kicked in, been waiting for that. I couldn't chase that anymore, man. I've been stacking against that dude for too long, and I've been getting killed. I couldn't keep chasing it, but you knew it was coming at some point. But what you gonna do, man? The good thing about baseball is it's every day, so we have another chance to kind of bounce back. In fact, we have 2 chances because we got 2 slates today. On this show, we're just gonna cover the main slate, the night slate. So those of you that want some coverage on the early slate, you're gonna have to go subscribe at wisestake.com. I will be writing an article for the early slate on DraftKings. It's a 7-game early slate, so it's actually pretty big. And yeah, I'll do an article covering that for those subscribed to wisestake.com. We're still running the free week thing. If you got to sign up for the All Sports Monthly, I'll go into that at the end of the show. But it's not too late. Go grab yourself some, some get down, if you will. All right, Joe. I think it's about that time where we talk about pitching and cash game pitching.
Yeah.
Main slate, Joe. Who is your cash game pitchers?
There's pretty much 3 that you're going to be considering at SP1s. It's going to be either Patrick Corbin, Mr. Bieber, or Syndergaard. Probably throw out Bieber in that one right there. Just he'll be more of a GBP option if you'd like him. Corbin, I kind of like the most just because he's at home. He's facing the Rockies, who don't hit very well on the road. They strike out like the most on the road, so it's just all pointing to them. And then Syndergaard, if you want to go just a little bit less, Syndergaard for 10,000 on DK, and I think he's the same price on FanDuel. I like him too. I mean, he's facing the Padres all year. We have been playing good pitching against the good right-handed pitching against the Padres, so there's no reason not to stop tomorrow. But slate dependent, I think I lean Corbin right now just a hair more, just because Syndergaard hasn't shown, like, I think Corbin will go 7 or 8 innings, but Syndergaard can get pulled after 5 or 6 innings, and you hoping you're gonna get the QS.
I understand that. I agree with you. I think they're both acceptable. I'm not quite sure which way I'd lean just yet for cash, but I get you with Corbin completely. The Rockies against lefties, away from Coors, they do strike out a ton. Corbin has some really nasty strikeout stuff, obviously, and you got to figure with Freeland on the hill for the Rockies, you're just looking at Corbin like you're probably likely to get the win. Freeland has been like the worst pitcher in baseball, so it's like it all kind of lines up that extra money you're spending for Corbin, it seems like it could actually get you somewhere. Whereas with Thor, awesome matchup. He's at home. Everything looks great. The issue, of course, is Syndergaard. His strikeouts are inconsistent. He doesn't always go for them. It's the Padres. Maybe he gets a couple extra. Plus, Denilson Lamet is pitching for the Padres, who's also a good pitcher. You don't necessarily know how the Mets are going to respond. So I think that it's either or. It's really, really tight right now. I'm not quite sure which way I'd lean, but I think they're both awesome plays in general anyway. And I would also agree with you that I think I would reserve Bieber for tournaments just because the Blue Jays have been one of those teams you just kind of don't know what you're going to get that day. But I'm with you. I think it's definitely between those two. What about SP2? Do you see maybe a cheaper option for DraftKings players to use, or do you think that you find a way to go double pay up?
SP2, I think on DK, the guy that I kind of like stand out, I think, would be Zach Gallen. He's 7,800. He's facing the White Sox. We know the White Sox strike out a lot. And I watched him pitch last week against the Dodgers, and he held them down in about 5 or 6 innings. So to me, it's Zach Gallen. When I'm looking at the prices down there in cash, that's the guy I'd probably go to.
I think that makes sense, dude. I mean, and if not Gallen, it's probably just the other side to Ronaldo. And I'm not a Ronaldo guy, but Miami's been striking out at an amazing clip. And so have the White Sox. So, yeah, I'm with you. I prefer Gallen. Definitely prefer Gallen. I think he's an actual good pitcher. I don't think Ronaldo Lopez is actually that good. But I think either or would do. And I think that Gallen is my preferred option. I think that's pretty straightforward. Let's talk about tournaments, Joe. We talked about Bieber maybe being a potential tournament option as opposed to Syndergaard or Corbin, who we like for cash. Do you still like those other two ahead of him, or do you like Bieber a little bit more for tournaments? Where are you at with that?
I'd have to break into that a little bit more, I think, because on DK he's like right in the middle of the two of them, so I'm not really kind of like in FanDuel he's pretty much the same as Syndergaard, so he's been really good, but his last start he kind of fell off the wagon just a little bit. Oh, yeah. So I'm kind of, the shine is a little bit off the bloom is off the rose a little bit when he played Kansas City last week. So he's going to want to get back on track. He's in, a hitter's ballpark in Toronto. Today there was a 2-1 game. So it was, Bauer was fine too, but Bauer didn't do great, did he? How was he today? Was he okay?
He put up in the 30s on DraftKings. He had a really good game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I don't know. I probably just stick with. I would Bieber just because of ownership was the only reason why I would pick him over the other two.
Right.
I mean, because I think the other two will just garner more ownership.
Right. No, I understand that. I agree with you completely. I do think Bieber's going to come in the least owned. And I also agree that it's something we have to look into. As of right now, it's still kind of hard for me to get off of Syndergaard or Corbin for him. And he's like in between them, so the ownership's going to be low. He's like on DraftKings, he's literally in between Syndergaard and Corbin. But I agree with you. I think the ownership's going to be pretty low. Strikeout-wise, we know the Blue Jays strike out with the best of them, so that's something to dig in on tomorrow. What are some of the other tournament options that you see?
I mean, on FanDuel, to me, Gallon at 6,800 is just too cheap.
Oh, that's awesome.
He's going to be way popular on FanDuel tomorrow. I've had two really good nights the last 2 days I've played, and I've been paying down for pitching, and he just sticks out tomorrow. I mean, like a sore thumb. I mean, if you look at it, just he's facing the White Sox. It's just he's pitched really, really well, I think. And he's 6,800. Obviously we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that much. He hasn't gone more than 5 innings, but I just have a feeling like they tried to have him go 6 innings last game, and he gave a 1 earned run, he struck out 5. He almost had a QS, so I think he can get that tomorrow at 6,800. Looking at the other options around there, I probably would go with him. Maybe you could maybe look at Lamet just because of the Mets and stuff like that, but he hasn't shown much in his 3 starts either. So, and Reynaldo Lopez, oh man, I'd rather stack. But there's nobody else really. I don't really see anybody else. It's like I said, 8-game slate. There's not much else. The price on Tehran is too much, I think. But he's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't go there. I like Gallon. I like Lopez. There's too many other guys below him I like. And then, of course, I do like Thor and Corbin. As of right now, those are the 4 that kind of stand out to me strong. I think Jordan Lyles could be worth a look. He pitched well against Philly. He gets the Cardinals, who are trying to wake up, but I think with the injuries they have, they just don't have the talent quite yet. So it's a risk, and I don't know if we need him because, I know I'm not a huge Lopez guy, but I am like big on following recent trends. And Miami, albeit they did put up a lot of runs against Kobe today, eventually he had like 4 Ks through the first 3 innings. Like he was on pace to kind of cruise. He had 1 inning where he fell apart. And I do think Ronaldo Lopez is a better strikeout pitcher than he is. So right now, I want to attack Miami because they're striking out a ton. I want to attack the White Sox. I like that game for pitching. I like Syndergaard. I like Corbin. Right now, that's kind of where I am. Tomorrow, we will see where the umpires are, see if there's any edge anywhere else, see what lineups come out. But as of right now, I'm comfortable with those 4, especially Gallon. And FanDuel, like you said, he's going to be pretty popular. That's pretty wild to have him that cheap. That's pretty crazy. All right, let's talk about some potential stacks, Joe. What are some of the offenses that look that stand out to you?
Well, right now, the offense that stands out, and actually the game that stands out to me, is Yankees at Minnesota. Happ against Odorizzi. Happ has been bad. Twins hit lefties really well. Odorizzi hasn't been very good either. He's been regressing like we've been calling it. Tonight they've had, look what they're doing tonight. No reason why they can't do that tomorrow night. To me, that's my number 1 game. But the team that I'm looking at that kind of popped out, that I'm not sure how many people are going to be on them or not. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I like the Braves a lot against Keller. He's coming off of 2 starts where he did really well, but 1 start was against the White Sox, the other one was against the Tigers. So the Braves are a 10 times better offense than those 2 teams. So people will look at Keller's box score and maybe think that he's going to be, a little bit better than he is. And I like the Braves tomorrow, probably just as much as the Twins or the Yankees.
I can't disagree with you, man. The Braves, very good offense. I agree. Keller is not a great pitcher. I think that he's decent at times, especially when he's at home in that big Kansas City ballpark. But he's going to Atlanta, a much smaller park. And like you said, the Braves, this is going to be a really good offense. He just had 2 really bad ones, too. It doesn't really get much worse, other than maybe Miami. But the White Sox and Detroit have just been the nut spots. He caught Detroit when they were at their nut worst. He caught the White Sox as they were in their nut worst, and now he's going to have to flip gears. So I'm with you. I think the Braves definitely stand out. And obviously, I would expect a lot of ownership in that Minnesota Yankees game. just because the first two games of the series have just been nuts. They've been scoring a ton of runs. So I do expect people to go there. I actually do like the idea of going back to the Dodgers, even though they are ripping my balls out as we speak. I think Barria is a worse version of Pena. He throws similar pitches, relies on a slider. And I think his slider, in my opinion, is not nearly as good as Pena's. So I have a feeling the Dodgers are going to put it to him. It's also supposed to be really hot by you, Joe. For your standards, right? Like, it's supposed to be like almost 90 degrees. Which for
well, it's going to be humid. That's what it is. It's humid,
right?
More than anything. So we know the ball flies a little more when it's humid. So, and it's not like, trust me, you guys on the East Coast, you're going to come out here and you're going to be like, this is humid. And I'm like,
yeah.
For us, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like, walk off the plane and the first thing you do is you see like, the humidity. You can see it walking off the plane and it just hits you. It's not like that.
Right.
But it's more humid than normal. So it's a little bump to the bats. I like what you're saying about the Dodgers going back to them. People might not want to go back to them, but they've looks like they might lose 3 to the Angels right now, 3 games in a row, considering they lost 2 in Anaheim. So maybe they'll want to win tomorrow a lot. So the other team you got to be looking at is the Nats against Freeland.
Oh, how did we not talk about that? That should have been the first offense we spoke about. My bad.
Yeah, on the back end of, I think because there's no implied run total off right now, so we kind of look at the other kind of, So to me, it's like you're going to get the back end of a doubleheader. You have Freeland, who's been terrible this year, and you also get, hopefully, depending on how much they use their bullpen in the first game, hopefully you'll be getting that depleted Colorado bullpen in the second game also. So I like them. And then probably the final team, I'm going to still look at how these Cardinals match up against Jordan Lyles. He had a decent last start, but he's been bad before leading up to that. So I don't see why we can't maybe look into going back to him tomorrow too.
Maybe. I the last team I'm trying to stack right now is the Cardinals. They just suck right now. I mean, like, granted, like they are starting to wake up, but I've been saying that for the last 2-3 weeks now. They're starting to wake up, and it's just really it's one player per night. It's like Goldschmidt hits a grand slam one night, Edman hits 2 home runs one night, but like as a whole, they're having a hard time putting it together. I'm not totally like sold on Lyles either, so I understand, and I think from an ownership perspective, you'll get them extremely low owned, of course. Yeah, for an 8-game slate, we actually have a pretty good. I actually like this slate a lot. We have like pitching, we've got hitting, like we got a little bit of everything, and there's only 8 games, so it's not a ton that we have to sift through. But we should see some more concentrated chalk. The Nationals probably pretty popular, but for good reason. I'm with you. I don't know how I forgot about that. We talked about the Nationals like before we even talked about hitters. We were like, oh yeah, they'll probably get the win because Freeland. Yeah, there's a really really good spot on paper for the Nats. So they should be pretty popular, and I think that is going to do it for the slate breakdown portion of the show. Let's go ahead and get into some cash game core stuff. We'll do some top threes. Cash game core, Joe. Corbin, I think you said you liked, right?
Yeah, I like Corbin on both sides. I was thinking, just because of like the price differences on FanDuel as compared to DK,
like splitting it up,
is they're almost the same prices, that maybe like one price is a little bit better just because you have more money on one site than you do on the other.
I mean, yeah, so that's a good point. I mean, I think that's a good way to kind of play it, right? Like, let's just see, like, do you need the money? If you can afford to get Corbin, get Corbin. If you can't, then go ahead and drop Syndergaard, right? I think that's fair. So we'll go with Corbin, just hypothetically for this example. SP2 Gallon?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm with that. Who's the cash game stud?
I like Acuna tomorrow.
I'm totally fine with him. I mean, there's a few ways we can go. We can go Acuna. We can go Freeman. We can go with Anthony Rendon. There's a lot of different ways, but for this example,
I would say Rendon to me. I like that. Yeah.
Okay, so we could do that. That's no problem. Is there a value guy? You look at FanDuel, look at DraftKings that maybe we can slip in. We'll have to see tomorrow, but any value?
Let's see. it's a lot of these guys. It just depends on if they're even going to be
playing.
starting
Yeah.
or not.
Of course.
I will always go right back to the well and just go with my boy Tommy Edman.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Leading off for the Cardinals switch hitter. I don't mind him. I think that's right now he's the best.
I'm good with that. I mean, on DraftKings, I'm just gonna go with Cano. He's still 3,100. He should be pretty popular after hitting 3 home runs. On DraftKings, I'll just throw in Cano. There's plenty of guys that we can go with tomorrow, but for now, I'll say Cano. All right. So it is time for some top threes, Joey. Top 3 pitchers.
Okay. Top 3 pitchers tomorrow. I like Corbin number 1. Number 2, I like Syndergaard. And number 3, I like Zach Gallen.
I'm going to go with the same top 3. I do like Ronaldo Lopez a little bit, but I do prefer Gallen right now. So I'll go Corbin, Syndergaard, Gallen as well. Top 3 stacks.
Top 3 stacks tomorrow. Number 1 is going to be the Braves for me. Number 2 is the Twins, and number 3 is going to be the Nationals, but I really like the Yankees also.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm going to go with the Nationals, the Dodgers, and the Atlanta Braves. Dongwash, Joey, who's going deep?
Mitch Garver.
Ooh, he's been red hot, man. Just red hot.
Yeah.
I will go with Anthony Rendon.
I'm going to go with Max Muncy. That funky Muncy.
Oh, you bastard. I'll go with Bellinger. I'm fine with that, but I did want Muncy. I'll go with Bellinger.
All right. And then I'm going to go with Freddie Freeman.
Love it. I do. I will go with Ozzy Albies from that same damn team. All right. That's going to do it for the... Oh, that good. I forgot to do the plug. These guys got lucky. But I'm going to tell everybody anyway because it's important that they know that we are still doing the free trial for the rest of this month. Nation, if you haven't already signed up at ysleek.com, I recommend you go over there, check it out. Come see our premium content. You already see what it is with our free stuff. Come see what it is with the premium stuff. This show, while we give it our best, it is the night before. It's our first look. Sometimes things do change when we go through our research, when lineups come out, weather, whatever the case may be, umpires. So come see what we end up on tomorrow. We are running that free week trial until the end of the month, and we may extend it, but for now, at the very least, we know it's going to run through July. But if you sign up for the All Sports monthly plan, you will have 7 days of free access until you actually get charged. So if you cancel within the 7 days, you'll never get charged if you're not satisfied. If you like what you're getting, if you like what you're seeing, you don't have to do anything, and after a week, you'll be charged. You'll become a member from then on out. And with this trial, you do get access to our Slack chat, so you can actually literally get access to everything we have. So it's definitely a good idea to come on and check it out if you haven't made an account with us already. With that said, if you're watching on YouTube, please click that thumbs up, that like button, subscribe to the channel. If you're watching on Facebook, give us a like and a share to support the YSEG Nation. If you're watching on Twitch or Twitter, give us a follow, give us a retweet. And if you're listening to us on Podbean or iTunes, give us some 5-star reviews. Joey, anything in closing before we get up out of here?
Not much. This should be an interesting day tomorrow. You got 2 slates, so hit that early slate, then come and get that night slate too. You get a good day to join and get a day pass.
Absolutely, definitely. For Patio Joe, for myself, the entire YSEG Nation, as always, good luck.